Yes, welcome into Sports Bet. Betting and Insight today, Pauly and Teddy. Wednesday, April 11th, final day of the regular season. We got a play-in game with Minnesota and Denver, and we'll get through all the scenarios and run them down too. We've never seen a season like this before, where so many seeds are undecided with one game left. And we'll turn the shot clock on about this buffoonery with Westbrook. There's actually a prop up offshore you can bet as well. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. We start with a Moose vicious beat. If you had the under in the Brewers-Cardinals game, if you had the Brewers, or if you had Brewers run line, the Brewers blew it in the bottom of the ninth. They blew the save in the bottom of the 10th. And then the Cardinals hit a walk-off two-run shot in extras again to win 5-3, and it goes over 7.5.
Yeah, I mean, this is a legit Moose. You can see the pick up there. This is brutal. It's 2-1 in the bottom of the ninth. All right, you're plus 1.5 and you got under. You're feeling pretty good. All right, you blow the save. It's 3-2 in the bottom of the 10th. You're still fine. The only way you can lose is not just blowing another save, but with a two-run walk-off. That's exactly what happened. Brutal for Brewers backers. My condolences if you had Milwaukee plus a run and a half or the under in that one.
Yes, all right, a couple bad bets. We'll get to look at this. 14-1, not even close. The Red Sox-Yankee game under from 7.5 down to 7, under minus 125. Some 6.5 showed. Mookie Betts went bananas. Red Sox win their 9th in a row. They win 14-1, and they bet against King Felix again. He pitched well the opening day against the Indians. It's been a struggle ever since. We told you on the show the velocity's been down big time, and they roughed him up.
Yeah, they sure did. Mookie Betts with the big game for Boston. Felix Hernandez didn't have much. They were betting on KC. I don't know if you want to be betting on KC a whole lot right now. Over probably would have been the smarter wager for the markets to go if they wanted to buck King Felix.
Bad for the books. Rough night for the shops. We'll get to the NBA in a second. Pirates Cubs over from 8-9, and a 40-cent move on the Phillies up to 210 against the Reds. 2 winners.
Yeah, Aaron Nola. If you haven't gotten notice already, Aaron Nola is going to be a pitcher that the wise guys love. The advanced metrics are there. The stats are there. The mainstream stats are there. The results are there. We saw a huge move on Philly last night, and obviously that cashed. I don't know if you're going to see Aaron Nola minus 170 against Cincinnati again. He's likely to be priced higher.
Yes. One correction. King Felix is actually okay in that game. 3 earned runs. The bad play was on the Royals in that one. The NBA Hornets from 6.5 down to 2. No Oladipo, no Bogdanovich, no Young. The Hornets run out the Pacers in that game. And then 76ers and Hawks. What's that? 11 of the last 13. 76ers have scored at least 115. 15 wins in a row. Doing this without Embiid. Over from 218 to 221.5.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is last night was a disaster, a flat-out disaster for sports books who cater to NBA bettors because every big line move won. And these were big moves, all right? When we talk about the Hornets plus 6.5 down to plus 2, it was even shorter in some spots. Indiana didn't play anyone. The Hawks, 76ers over, cashes in. The Suns against Dallas. Phoenix already clinched the worst seed, and Dallas needed, or the Phoenix already clinched the most lottery, the most ping pong balls in the lottery, and Dallas needed to lose. The markets recognized that, and the money poured in on the Suns. They blew out the Mavs. And, what about Utah against Golden State? Golden State went through the motions on defense, but Utah got a pretty easy win, got a pretty easy cover, took a whole bunch of money, and, of course, they didn't have to use a whole lot of energy in that ballgame. We'll talk a little bit more about the Jazz later in the show. When it comes to big game breakdowns.
Yeah, I can sneak this one in too from Soccer Champions League. Second leg aggregate. Their worst loss in 60 matches. If you had Barcelona to advance or to win the Champions League, they were the co-favorites. They won the first leg 4-1. They got shut out 3-0. It's the third time in Champions League history that a team won the first leg by 3 goals or more and then lost. Last year it happened. Barcelona was down 4 goals and rallied to beat PSG. That's incredible. Roma was as high as 500-1 offshore to win this thing. They're in the semifinals now. And Man City got knocked out. Liverpool beat them a bit again. So we'll see 2 more matches coming up today. And you got Sevilla and also Juventus if they can shock the world as well. But that was horrible by Barcelona. They get beat 3-0. And an outstanding call on the final goal from Roma. as well. It's a play-in game tonight, the Wolves and the Nuggets, and we'll get to all the scenarios coming up on the final day of the regular season in the association on SportsBit. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com.
Go to SBROdds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.
Back on SportsBit 2.0, give us a follow on Twitter. I'm at Real SportsBit. He's at Teddy_Covers. We'll tweet out the links about 11:30 Pacific every day. Minnesota at home against Denver. Winner in, loser out. Minnesota's 3, 212 the total. Early money on Minnesota and the under. Going to be a vicious offseason for the loser of this game. Minnesota, I guess you could take, you say, well, we didn't have Butler for a key stretch as well. Denver putting themselves in this position by winning 6 in a row. Full marks there. But why it's going to sting? Listen to these. Why both teams shouldn't be in this position. They should be fighting for the 4 or the 5 seed. Minnesota has lost to Memphis twice, Chicago, the Nets, Atlanta, Orlando, and Phoenix. Denver lost to Dallas, Memphis, sacked Dallas again, the Knicks, and they lost at home to Atlanta and Phoenix. So horrible losses here. And we're talking about 2 pretty good teams.
Yeah, we certainly are. Of course, they met last Thursday in Denver. The Nuggets minus 5.5. They won that game by 4. In that game, no Jimmy Butler for Minnesota, no Gary Harris for Denver. That's not going to be the case tonight. The T-Wolves have gotten Jimmy Butler back since that game. Now, 2-0 straight up, 2-0 against the spread with him back on the floor, both against weak teams, but boy, it helps to get him back on the floor against a couple of lesser foes before you play a real crucial game like tonight's. Since his return, he hasn't played a ton of minutes. See the graphic? Mm-hmm. Not a whole lot of shots. He only made 10 shots in the 2 games, but the hustle has been there. Plenty of hustle, 7 steals. And, of course, he's a catalyst on defense the team simply did not have without him. Minnesota likely to be the fresher of the 2 teams here. It's only their second game in 5 days. The first was an easy win over Memphis on Monday, and that stands in sharp contrast to a Denver team. I mean, they've been fighting the fight. You know, they had to win each of their last 6 games just to stay alive to get to this point. 5 of those 6 wins came by 6 points or less. 2 of them came in overtime. I do worry about fatigue for the Nuggets in this situation.
I don't know. They haven't been able to defend all year for Tibbs. Was that the same case last year? Their full season defense, Butler in, Butler out. You see that graphic. And then the fourth quarter defense full season. Minnesota, the worst, 112.8. Denver's had their issues as well. Pre-Monday, Denver had been 26 in full season defense and 28 since the All-Star break. But they held Portland to 33 points. They were terrific. They were down 11 in the third quarter, and they actually covered by outscoring them in the fourth 22-13. And as we mentioned, they just played, and it was 196, these 2 teams. Malone, quote, I told them at halftime, I was honest. Fellas, if we lose, we're out. I knew some of those other teams had won games, and I felt we played like our lives were on the line. It wasn't pretty, but I thought our defense was phenomenal. And he was right, because Minnesota was up big, and the Spurs had won too. So if they lost that game, they were going to be eliminated. They also got Harris back, who had 12 points in 18 minutes. And they could use them, though, because, listen, this has been a tough stretch. With the 6-game winning streak, though, a couple of those are in overtime, and they are beating all playoff teams during that stretch.
They sure have. And, I mean, you could say this in Denver's favor. This team is battle-tested. They have been through the ringer over the last couple of weeks, schedule-wise, intensity-wise, and they've come out smelling like roses. You know, facing double-digit deficits, repeatedly digging down deep on the defensive end to get stops, on the offensive end to execute. But I really worry about the minutes, the cumulative toll of those minutes against, as I mentioned, a rested T-Wolf squad tonight. When you look at this graphic right here, you'll see why they really need Gary Harris when it comes to minutes right now. Because during the last 6 wins, this is a team, the good teams are able to rest guys down the stretch. Denver, they played the Joker 38 minutes. Barton's played 38 minutes. Murray's played 38 minutes. Millsap's at 35. Chandler's over 30 as well. So we're talking about a team that has not been able to rely on much depth, which makes me concerned about some tired legs during crunch time tonight, even with so much on the line for Denver. I think Denver may well be the better of these 2 teams. I'm not convinced we see that tonight.
Yep. And I don't care if we live till we're 90 years old. We may never see this again. So much still undecided with the final day of the regular season. Let's do some quick hitters. Raptors in the Heat. Heat laying about 5 at home. I imagine Toronto sits a lot of people, and Miami can get the 6, the 7, or the 8. But again, who wants the 6 seed, right? Because you might take on Philly, who's won 16 in a row, if they win tonight, and you're getting Embiid back, or you could face LeBron. And Miami would prefer to take on Boston in the 2-7. But Washington goes to Orlando, and John Wall is doubtful. So same thing with Wall. We don't know who the 6, 7, or 8 is going to be in the East. And Milwaukee is saying all the right things, but Greek Freak is doubtful with the ankle injury, and Philly's laying 8 at home tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. So let's start with the Raptors and Heat. It's been nothing but Toronto money. Remember, even when Toronto sits guys, when you talk about bench depth, I don't know if there's a team in the league that's had better bench depth than the Raptors this season. They've gotten a ton off the pine all season long. And we've seen Miami tank, legitimately tank. When you get outscored 39-12 in a tight game going into the fourth quarter, in the fourth quarter at home against OKC, it tells me what the Heat are thinking. No surprise at all that we've seen heavy money come in on Toronto. Knicks, Cavs. Cleveland gets the East number 3 seed with a win and a Philly loss. But they can scoreboard watch. You talked about the Sixers, and we'll talk about them in just a minute. If Philly breaks out big, do the Cavs take LeBron off the court? They might, and that has to be a concern. The point spread there has Cleveland laying 15 in the season finale, regular season finale for the Cavs, and the season finale for the Knicks.
Check. I don't think Hardaway's going to go or Cantor either in that one. So they should be able to blow them out and win that one with ease. Milwaukee and Philly. Philly wins. They're the 3 seed. They've won 15 in a row. They didn't cover last night. And Milwaukee is the 6 if they win. I don't know if you want the 6, because that means LeBron if you get it done. And they showed it on the broadcast last night. If Washington wins and Milwaukee and Miami lose, then Washington's the 6th seed. So, man, it's crazy in the East.
Yeah, sure. But when you talk about Philadelphia right now, the money has poured in on the Sixers in early betting action on Wednesday. Game opened 5.5. Now we're looking at 8s as we record. No surprise here if it goes higher with the red-hot Sixers trying to close out one of the more impressive runs that we've seen in the NBA this season. Let's give Philly credit doing what they've done without their low post stud in the middle.
Memphis and OKC. OKC already in. With a win, they can help themselves to move up, and several teams. Here now it's crazy in the West with San Antonio, New Orleans, OKC. Look at Denver. Denver could miss the playoffs or get the 5 seed. So here you're talking about 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 with OKC and New Orleans and San Antonio here with our next couple games. OKC's laying a huge number. I imagine Memphis sits people. OKC should run them out.
Yeah, and they sure should. The number, I'm looking at 17 as we record here early on Wednesday morning. And, this is a meaningful game for OKC for 2 reasons. One, Russell Westbrook has the opportunity to average a triple-double. We'll talk about that. We turn the shot clock on in a few minutes. The other reason, home court advantage in the first round. The 4 seed is worth something in theory. They can get to the 4 with a win and a Blazers win. That's legitimate motivation. The Blazers, however, Blazers pay after them. If Portland wins, and or they can get a 6 with a win, even if Portland loses. So, yeah, OKC's got something to play for. Are they going to bring it? Westbrook's going to bring it. Are they going to bring it to cover 17? That's a little rich, in my opinion.
Pelicans laying 3 at home against the Spurs. Both teams in, playing for seeding. Popovich doesn't care about seeding. Full marks to the Pelicans. What a story. They lose Cousins. I buried them. Most people buried them. They still make the playoffs. Holiday's been terrific. Rondo playing well. Mirotic, huge acquisition. At 24 and 16 in the win the other day. They'd fall to the 8 with a loss. They can get as high as, I think they can get a 5 with a win, a 4 with a win. Who knows? They need some help, though. And the same thing with San Antonio, where I wouldn't want to see Golden State or Houston with a loss. So this is a huge game as well.
Sure. There's no shortage, and of course we're going in rotation order as we break these down. Let's talk Wizards and Magic. And of course, Washington as road chalk in this ball game. 2.5 up to 5, despite the concerns about John Wall. Wizards can still finish in the 6, 7, or 8, depending on how things play out. in the Eastern Conference tonight.
And the big one at 7:30 on ESPN, only 3 late games, but this one's huge. Utah and Portland for the 3 seed. Utah, 29-5 since January 24th. And the Blazers have been in free fall mode. I know they had Harkless and Davis out, and Lillard missed a couple games. So it comes down to this. And Portland, or Utah, can still get the 5 seed. And then they may have to take on OKC in the first round, too, if everything breaks right or wrong for Utah in this case. But they caught a break. They just beat Golden State by 40. So it is a back-to-back, but that game was over in the second quarter last night.
Exactly. The Jazz are in a very good situation for an end-of-the-season back-to-back duo. No one played more than 28 minutes last night. 13 different players got, 9 minutes or more of playing time. So they are certainly relatively fresh to be in this type of situation. And as you mentioned, Portland can't finish lower than number 4. They will have home court in the first round. They'll get a home game in their next game after this one. Utah falls to number 5 with a loss and an OKC win if they lose and the Thunder win. But man, this is legitimate insanity. And if you're trying to handicap these games based on seeding, I'm telling you, we've talked a lot about seeding scenarios. In my experience, the motivation to get a better seed isn't quite what we might think it would be. A lot of times, game number 82 in the regular season is just that. It's a garbage fest.
Up next, we turn the shot clock on and we give out a play of the day on SportsBit. Betting Insight today on SBRpicks.com.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter. I'm at Real SportsBit. He's at Teddy_Covers. Play of the day in a second. Time to turn the shot clock on. Westbrook needs to get 16 rebounds to average a triple-double for the second year in a row. Couple of good tweets here. Ryan Russillo, if I had to pick a guy in the NBA that would start a game saying I need 16 rebounds, I'd pick Russ first. Bill Simmons, it's going to be interesting to watch this game and watch Adams box out 2 guys so Russ can grab free throw rebounds. It's going to be, that already happened in the other 81 games as well. Shame on you if you had an MVP vote last year and gave it to Westbrook. So he's going to average a triple-double again. He's never been in the conversation the entire year for MVP. Until Magic Johnson came along, we never cared about the triple-double. He won't even guard anybody and contest the shot tonight, as he's done most of the last 2 years. He'll try to pad his stats and get the rebounds. And look at this, offshore, over 15.5 rebounds is minus $8 on the yes.
Yeah, exactly. The markets are telling you what we can expect to see tonight. First of all, it's a remarkable accomplishment. Say what you want about chasing stats. Nobody does that, and to do it back-to-back years, something that only the big O, Oscar Robertson, did 50 years ago. It's impressive whether he, finesses the stats a little bit tonight or not. But you bet he's going to get those 16 rebounds. He might have them by halftime. But worth noting, that Memphis team total, if Westbrook is the guy they're asking to get rebounds, the offensive glass might be there from Memphis tonight. They could score a few points more than bettors might expect.
Great idea. And last year, DeAndre Jordan attempted to block more three-point shots than Westbrook. That is vomit-inducing. Jordan plays under the rim and by the basket. Westbrook doesn't. That tells you how he leaves shooters to chase stats and grab his rebounds while he's getting help from his teammates to be a stat stuffer. That's embarrassing. All right, money time. Play of the day. All right, you like this team. You've been on them for a while here. Let's go back to the Jazz and Portland. Jazz getting point. There's some 4 available here. You can grab 4.
Yeah, exactly. But the prevailing 9 right now, game number 719, the Utah Jazz plus 3.5. If you remember on yesterday's show, we showed you a graphic that shows the Jazz, since Rudy Gobert's second game back, they're the second best team in the NBA, record-wise. And record-wise means something, doesn't it? I would think so. I think Utah's the better of these 2 teams, flat out. Jazz get the 3 seed in the West. Utah, plus 3.5. Yeah, second of back-to-backs, but they're in good shape, given the blowout win over Golden State last night. Jazz rested, ready, primed to win the game straight up. Give me Utah plus the 3.5. That's our play of the day.
All right. Tomorrow we start Eastern Conference previews and the NBA playoffs. We'll know all the matchups, hopefully have some series prices as well. Rolling all that down, we'll get to the West on Friday thanks to Bet Online and Intertop Sportsbook. 22 years online. Sign up, deposit, and win. We'll talk to you then on SportsBit. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com.